Welcome to the 100x Mindset podcast. Today I'm with my co-founder Brian.
Hello everyone.
Hello.
How are you?
Very good. It's really good to be back in the swing of things.
Yeah.
Just for everyone to understand as well, we're trying to bulk up with content over the next few weeks because I'm going to be in the US and Canada and Brian's going to be away also. So we're trying to just bulk up every day, every 2 days to try and get as much content in so we can spread it over a period of time. We'll be adding in fresh content while we're away as well.
Yeah.
You know, you with your DJI, me with the GoPro.
Yeah.
Throwing bits of Mohammed there and getting it uploaded.
Touching in on our travels, we're going to make arrangements as well to get some links and connect Zoom connections and try and get some content out even like distance.
Yeah.
So yeah, that should be interesting to see how that pans out.
Yeah, it will. I mean, the great thing is the road trip. I think I spoke of this before, but the road trip that we've got planned, me, the wife and kids. Normally we book 5-star hotel all inclusive, and it just ends up becoming like a drinking session every afternoon. So this is the pair I booked this before I chose the path of sobriety, and it's the perfect holiday because literally we're getting into New York, we're spending a few days in New York, and then I've got a car and we've got a road trip right the way through by Connecticut, Canada, and it's like 3.5 weeks.
Yeah.
And the wife's got some absolutely magical places to stay.
To stop
You know, these aren't, what we said is, UAE's filled with 5-star hotels, and I'm not knocking them, but it's like that's been my life for years, and I want something authentic when we're traveling around. You know, nice little inns. Do you know what I mean? Nice things on the lake, by the rivers.
It's an interesting route, isn't it? A lot of people go from east to west or west to east, but you're going up.
We're going up, yeah. I don't know. We've done a ChatGPT and Grok have played a big role in helping us find the route. Yeah. I can't, Grok for me because I love Elon, and ChatGPT for the wife, but they've turned into our personal assistants on a daily basis. They actually know us, which is crazy. So they come back and they say, okay, based on your family, based on you wanting a nice relaxing time and in the mountains and rivers and lakes, we suggest this route and staying at these places.
How many hours a day do you think you'll be driving?
It's every few days. So so we're staying a few days in New York. We've got a really nice place in New York. I think it's the Plaza. And then that's going to be really nice. But then after that, we're getting the car dropped off and then we're heading up, and we've got like a few nights here. Then we've got there's no more than a 3-hour drive.
Yeah.
We've got the kids Kindles because they like reading. So I don't want them just sitting on their iPads in the back of the car because that's all they want to do. And it's about trying to, with the reading, they'll get bored of it a little bit and look out the window. Do you know what I mean? With the iPad, they're just absolutely fixated.
I find I tell my kids to look out the window and stop looking. They all get sick every time they start looking at it.
Well, that's with the iPads, we stopped that in the car because they get sick. So we thought, we get the Kindles, we can get the comics on there and whatever. And they like Captain Underpants and all that.
This going back, it must be at least 10 years ago, 12 years ago. I bought an old Discovery. It wasn't old at the time, it's old now.
Disco, yeah. They were brilliant.
I bought a Discovery off eBay in one of those camplet trailer tents.
Yeah.
And my brother went and got it taxed and insured. I flew back, picked up the kids, and we drove to, me and my wife, got the boat, from Dover to Calais, and then we went over to Brittany and then dropped down the west coast of France and into Spain. I can honestly say it was one of the best holidays we've ever had. We'd do about 3 days in different campsites and everything else. It was just incredible doing like little wine tasting, spend a few days in each place, and there's a place called Raclette. I think it's Raclette.
I've been to Raclette,
yeah, it's lovely. White beaches. You've got the Atlantic coast, so the waves
Raclette
and everything.
is the top left-hand side. or is it by Bordeaux? It's on the
Yeah, it's on
the west. Is it?
Yeah, it's the west coast.
Yeah, it's the west
So
coast. Yeah.
there's about 20 kilometres of just white.
Is that with Saint Emilion further down?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
We
I
went
think so.
2017. It was in March. You know, I'm working. I'm full time crypto. I said to the wife, I said, now my one of my sons, he was only 18 months old at the time, and it was crazy move, but it was the best 6 months ever. So I said, I got it a 7 Series. It wasn't even like a big SUV, but it was big enough. Do you know what I mean? So and I said, let's just go for a drive into Europe. She said, well, so we literally got Airbnbs, and we didn't know how long we were going to be, and we'd done from March right the way up to September, and we went over to Brussels initially, so we got the Eurostar, and then we in the car, and then we went to Brussels, then we went to Strasbourg, then we done Switzerland, we done Zurich, and then we went over the Alps, and then we went into Italy. We done a month and a half on Lake Como, and then we cut round to Milan, and then we come all the way around the French Riviera, and then we found that we found a beautiful place in it was just outside Fréjus, which is outside Nice and whatever, and Saint-Tropez, Saint Emilion, all around there.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting a little cottage, and afterwards, after the trip. But anyway, we cut up the west coast, and we went to Bordeaux. We went to there was all these little towns, and the food. I mean,
It's lovely, isn't it?
Look, I love
so
France.
Picturesque.
I love France. The crazy thing is, and I'll say it, the French, for some reason, don't like the English. You know, and they will not speak, even though they understand English. The majority will pretend they don't. You know.
I just thought everyone was just, and I think that's it. I think if you try with them, for me, I done French in school, and I enjoyed it.
Bonjour, ça va?
Yeah, but if you try a little bit and start trying to converse with them, they're more than helpful.
Yeah, I'm
It's
not
like
saying
anyone.
them all. You can't stereotype them all, but I found there was a lot of like, I don't know, I felt like there was negativity towards the English, but there you go. And that was the only annoying thing for me. I've got French friends, especially through crypto, so not all like that, but I felt that. But it was still, you know, with the family having an amazing time. We were going to all the vineyards, Saint Emilion vineyards, wine tasting, eating beautiful food in a vineyard, you know. Saint-Tropez is beautiful. All the West Coast is great. Now, I had an office many years ago I was in Geneva at the office for 4 years. And obviously that's French-speaking Switzerland. But then I found that I moved across the border, and I was a frontalier. So I was living in Annecy-du-Lac, which is one of the most beautiful places in the world. I lived there for 4 years. So I used to commute every morning on the new motorway from Annecy, 40 minutes to Genève, yeah. So I found that to be really nice. But
Do you speak any French?
je m'appelle Steven, j'habite Dubai, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, med.
Merde.
Yeah, I'm completely fluent. I'm fluent in Greek, which is really not handy to have at all in life. But I that was because of many years, 4 years in Greece, and then 4 years in Cyprus. So I'm fairly fluent in Greek, and it doesn't do me any good apart from when I go back or go to a Greek restaurant.
Yeah.
I love the Greek people, I love the life there and whatever. But yeah, so it was a great trip, and then we decided to get a little place in the south of France after it. We ended up that year in September. We were flying my parents over from Liverpool throughout the trip, and other people, so like we were flying them across, picking them up, and they'd spend like 2-3 weeks with us. And it was a great 6 months. I mean, it was memorable. It was. I don't know how we did it with an 18-month-old.
You get to see a lot as well, don't you?
Of course,
it's nice, isn't it?
I'm trying to think of the town outside Bordeaux we went to. Orbiter, that was it.
Okay.
Oh, mate, it was absolutely unbelievable. It was
Bordeaux's lovely, isn't
but
it?
it was just outside Bordeaux. It was a place called Orbiter, and there was a lot of English there. And it was like a lot of English expats that lived there. And it was beautiful place just on the river. And, You know, they had a beach on the river. It was so clean, the river. So, you know, we spent a lot of time there having picnics and stuff like that. But it was a great experience, the whole 6 months. We having an 18-month-old child was very difficult.
But it was challenging. But
It was challenging, yeah.
You got 6 months out of it, so you made it work, didn't you?
Yeah, it was just about, and our marriage survived. It's just about, but it was amazing memories, mate.
Even my kids now, the eldest, they're 24 and 22, and they say that was one of the most memorable holidays.
Yeah,
in a good way.
that you had.
That they've ever had.
I think, you know, going back to basics, you know, I remember as a kid, some of the best times I remember, and we never had much money, but I tell you what, mate, I remember going away, Barnes Travel on County Road, yeah, in Liverpool. They used to do the buses, yeah, and they used to have the buses, and the buses used to go the coaches from County Road to France or Spain, right?
Yeah, and I remember it was like at Amber Line or something.
Amber Line, yeah. So we'd have me nan and granddad, we'd have me mum and dad, and then me and my sister would go under the seats with a little blanket and a pillow, and literally sleep through the night.
We did it once with me mum and dad, me and my older brother, I think before Chris was born. And it was, I always remember it was Amber Line. I remember being on this coach, lying on the floor on a blanket.
And everyone would be on the ale. Everyone would be pissed. All the adults, obviously, all the way there.
Everyone knew each other.
Everyone was sort of. Liverpool is a very close-knit place. It's a big city, but everyone sort of knows each other, especially from when you've got the areas.
After the coach ride.
Especially after the coach ride. There's been a couple of fights on there. Everyone being pissed. Everyone's best.
Trying to think of the place. There was a place in Spain, which was just famous for these coaches.
Costa Brava, Costa Blanca. That's where we ended up. So you get there and it'd be a caravan site, and it'd just be full of Scousers, and you spend a couple of weeks there. But I tell you what, mate, we done one and we done a couple there when I was younger, and the memories as a kid. But you know what? The thing is, for me, that was unbelievable. Going to Wales was unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? When I was a kid, the great memories that we had. I remember. I don't know what insanity would have been going through my dad's mind to do this, but you know, it's a case of if you haven't got much money, you know, you just do whatever you can. And my dad just got a Ford Capri. Remember the 2-door Capris?
Yeah.
So we got a Ford Capri.
Classics now, though.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus, I mean, he must have been the dude in that years ago. But there was me and my sister, me nan and granddad, and me dad. I remember my dad painting the headlights yellow, because when you go through Europe back then, you had to have the headlights had to be yellow.
Oh, was it?
So I remember him painting the headlights with this special stuff, because we were going to south of France. So my dad, with me, my sister, I was about 6, he was 5, my nan and granddad in the 70s, me mum and dad, and all the cases, right, in a Ford Capri, and drove to the south of France. Now, my granddad was a character, right? He had pubs all over Liverpool. He had pubs in Toxteth, Kirby, Scotland Road, everywhere. Yeah. And he liked to drink, but he was just... people always said if my granddad had money, every cat in the street would have a gold necklace, do you know what I mean? He was very generous, you know, he had whatever. But the story that my dad and my mum has told me, I don't remember it, but when we got to Dover to go across on a ferry in the Ford Capri, my granddad had his money spends for the holiday, for the 2-week holiday. Yeah. And do you remember them auctions you used to pull you in, and then you'd end up buying a set of pans or something you didn't need, right? You know, them closed auctions, you get someone to push you in, and they'd lock the doors and everyone, and then they used to be all over the UK years ago in the 90s, don't you remember?
No.
Okay, well anyway, he got pulled into one of these, and everyone was just, you know, going to the toilet or whatever, and in Dover, they had one of these auctions, so he'd walked in, and he'd come out with a set of pans. This is on the way to the caravan site, and he had a set of pans. My dad said, "What are you doing, Jerry?" And he said, "Oh, I've just been to an auction here, got these copper..." He said, "We're going on holiday." We haven't even got enough room in the car. He'd spent all his money, spending money on his pants. Right? But he was a character, mate. He was a character.
I bet they're still in the family. It's an heirloom now.
Isn't it? I don't even know where they are. I wish I did, mate. I've got his medals from the RAF when he was in the Second World War. I've got them. So I've got bits of every one of them.
My childhood, we'd go away. So it wasn't until about the age of 15. I'd say when I was 1, 2 and 3 or something like that, we'd stayed in the UK, but every single Christmas was spent in Portugal.
Yeah.
Christmas and New Year, we'd go for a month every year.
You were posh then?
Up until the age of 15. No, we'd just get... It was out of season, wasn't it? So
yeah. You were still posh than me, mate.
My dad would get the cheap deals.
Yeah. The teletext deals.
It'd be all his mates, and their kids.
Yeah.
A lot of my cousins, aunties and uncles. There'd be about 30 of us, 27, 30 people.
Yeah.
All fly out, get cheap deals on hotels, cheap flights. And we'd spend a month every Christmas and New Year in Portugal from like...
That's amazing.
Right up the coast.
I've looked.
It was just great.
A few years ago, we were looking at other alternatives because we loved the UAE, yeah. But we were looking at other alternatives potentially, and one of the alternatives we were looking at was Portugal. So I actually set up accounts there and whatever, and we went over it. We were in Dubai, and my mum and dad, we bring them over every few months, as you know, for a month, 6 weeks, and then they go back and I bring them over again. A couple of years ago, in that year, we done a month. We just woke up one morning and with my ADHD, we're going, okay, we're going to Portugal for a month. I go, oh, we've only just got here. And I said, we're going to Portugal, so we'd take them to Portugal. We'd look round, we were looking around Cascais, which is like the nicest part of Lisbon on the coast. But it was funny because obviously, you know, where I'm from, I'm from Anfield, the family are from Bootle, Scotland Road, etc. You know, I was brought up, you know, I had to be streetwise. I had to understand how to survive. You know, it was a jungle. But then being in the UAE for years, you sort of, not you lose it, but, you know, you forget sometimes there's a big bad world out there. And we're walking down the street and my dad, who's like 75 years of age, we're all walking down Cascais. And then next minute I heard like shouting, and this old fella was getting robbed by this fella that must have been on something. Yeah. And my dad jumped on him. My dad's 75, so I looked behind and my dad's jumped on him. So I grabbed my dad, pulled him off, and I grabbed this fella, and, you know, I'm like, obviously instinct, but it's like, I thought, I can't be arsed moving here, mate.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, after that, that was the first day. And things go on in cities all over the world, but it's like, there's, you know, I always say, you know, the UAE...
It leaves an impression, doesn't it? So you're not going to...
You know, but the UAE is the best place. I know it gets warm in the summer.
Yeah.
But it is the best place in the world to live, especially with kids.
It's incredible, isn't it? But I don't think people realise, even when I first moved here, mates from school or mates from back home going, the perception of what it was, until it's like everyone knows now, it's become so commercialised and as a tourist hotspot. But back then, and I'm talking 20 years ago, people would be like, what are you going there for?
Well, now it's...
They just didn't get it.
Now it's given, mate. Everyone talks about Dubai and UAE.
It's an incredible place to live.
It's an incredible place to live. But...
And it's true. Like, I think like Abu Dhabi was like the safest city in the world so many years running, or up there in the top, within the top 5 or top 2 or whatever.
But you know what the thing is, when I post on, especially on my other socials, I always post about how fantastic the UAE is. And what really gets to me is that people have obviously never been there or get jealous because they can't live here or whatever it is. I don't know, but you get negativity. Oh, you're only saying that because you're getting paid. Who's paying me? The Dubai government. You know, no one's paying me. I'm doing it because the healthcare, the education, the safety, you know, the people, the local people are fantastic. You know, that's why I'm saying it. It's not like I'm forced to say it. I'm saying it, and then you get a lot of positivity, obviously, especially people who live here, because they know. But then you get negativity and you're like, come on, mate.
I think it's just, it's a unique place, isn't it? It's like, I remember, what was it, a couple of years ago, it was called the Year of Tolerance. And it is just, it's just instilled, it's pushed. Be tolerant, be tolerant to the people around
You
you.
mean over here?
To people with different views, different viewpoints. It's just
But
so.
you've got a minister of happiness over here, right? And people don't understand. I was just saying to Mo earlier on, if I said to my son, right, his friends are Emirati, his friends are Moroccan, his friends are Indian. If I said to my son, line up with all your friends in front of me and you tell me the difference between you and your friends, he'd say, he likes Minecraft, I like Roblox. He's taller than me, he's shorter than me. He likes blue, I like red. There would be nothing in his mind that would say he's brown, he's black, I'm white. There's nothing. And do you know what? For me, that's the most beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm not saying racism doesn't exist on certain levels here. I'm not saying that. But in general, for my children to be brought up with people from different cultures, if they see my children, someone in traditional Emirati dress or Indian dress or whatever, they will not think anything of that. That's where they live. That's the cultures that are around them. And to have a melting pot of human beings in the same place, Catholics, Christians, Muslims, Buddhists, whatever, all together, no issues.
Exactly.
Have you noticed that? There's no issues.
Yeah.
The world is riddled with conflict due to religion. It's absolutely rife all over the world. Racism is a terrible cancer that's in this world on all sides. When people think of racism, some people think, white versus black, this. It's on all sides. You've got racism, let's say with Indians against whites, whites against Indians, whatever it is. It can be anyone. We're all human beings.
Yeah.
I personally, because my children and because they're getting brought up in a certain way, it makes this place even more special for me.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? It's just, there's nowhere else like it.
There's
definitely nowhere comparable.
There's nowhere else like it.
Especially not, and again, it's not just the lifestyle and the standard of living. It is the community and the people around you. It's just so integrated.
It's integrated. It's a melting pot, but also talking about people's perception of Dubai and whatever, the glitz and glamour. Okay, initially, in all honesty, and there has been times for me when you're going out and you're buying all your Louis Vuitton and this and everything's all your Louis Vuitton this and that, blah blah, and it's all flash pizzazz. I think after a bit, and that sort of like a lot of new money, including myself years ago, it was like, okay, it's excitement because you can suddenly be part of what you deem to be the in crowd and whatever, and I'm not saying that I don't like stuff like that, but it's, for me especially, it's gone way beyond that. So if you look at the sort of deeper into everything else, you'll find a lot more purity, a lot more of a genuine society and a genuine set of people. And there's a lot of superficial stuff that goes on. But then there's, yourself, you've been here for years and years, you've seen all that. But then, you don't have to live your life like that, do you?
Yeah, I think it's like going anywhere. When you move there for the first time, you're drawn in by a lot of, as you just put it, the pizzazz, and you're gonna be wowed.
Yeah.
But then there's a true rawness about the reality of it. It is the most safest, peaceful, integrated country in the world.
But the thing is, people say, people have never been here. They'll say, oh yeah, it's fake and this and that. It's not. And they'll say that it's got no wildlife. You go into Ras Al Khaimah, you go into parts of Saudi Arabia.
You look out at just the water
Oh,
outside
man.
your house.
Yeah.
They've got one of the most rarest species in the world. I think it's called the dudong or gudong.
Oh, the dudong, yeah.
Dudong.
Yeah.
It's like a sea cow or
Yeah,
something.
sea cow, yeah.
Yeah.
But
it's a natural habitat just here.
Look, you've got the mangroves, you've got everything, you've got the islands, you've got so much wildlife, and especially in the desert. Well, you know, you go through the desert, you've got
the flamingos.
Flamingos, you've got desert foxes, you've got the camels. I mean, the wild camels running around. You know, you've got so much wildlife. Yeah, okay, it gets hot, really hot for about 2 months of the year. And then what we normally do is we go on a bit of an adventure around the world and then spend 10 months here. But as I say, you know, I fly the flag hard for the UAE. And not just the UAE, but for most parts of the GCC. You know, the people are great people. And, you know, there is, you know, if someone is, let's say, that way inclined and wants to cause problems, obviously there will be problems for them, but that keeps the place safe. And for the family, man, you know, you want the place to be safe. You want the bad eggs, you know, to not flourish.
Exactly, can be removed.
Yeah, exactly.
It's great.
But yeah, and also setting up a business here. Let's just cover that very briefly. You know, Ali, obviously a close friend of mine. You know, he's got a company that will actually help people very seamlessly set up corporations over here and bank accounts and whatever. And you know, you've got the 9% corporation tax, but you get 0% income tax. And 0% on property sales and stuff like that. This, you know, people always go back and say, when I mention about the UAE, they go, oh, okay, you're not paying any tax. I'll be honest, okay, that is good. But I also spend a hell of a lot of money in the UAE, right? So you can have tax on different things when you think about it. They're clever because I'm spending all my money here. And essentially, that's the lizard's going a bit crazy at the back there.
Oh, he's gone big, hasn't he?
He doesn't really move too much, and he's getting a bit too big for the time.
I've seen him out.
I think he's catching a few of the crickets. You know, when I chose sobriety and I was like recovering the first few days, I got a few reptiles. I got the first one, the 2 chameleons. And I wanted to get a snake, you see, but the wife was going, no, you can't have any more pets because I've got the 2 dogs.
I agree with her.
but I was actually going to get it. One's called Bitcoin, which is the snake, not the snake, the crested gecko. Shall I get him out now?
No.
Why?
Because you don't know how fast he runs, do you?
He's 25 miles an hour.
You'll end up losing him in the sofa, then we'll have to change the podcast location because I won't come here again.
Yeah. But so yeah, I've got the 2 chameleons. You're actually adamant that one of them is dead, hanging upside down.
Yeah, look at it. It's like it's got one arm, and the other one's just hanging off.
No, one of them's from Birkenhead. That's the problem. I got it shipped over from the Whittle. But yeah,
you have to cut that bit out, don't you?
No, we'll keep that one. I'm all right with that. We all know about the one-eyed city. Yeah, so we've gone off topic, but that's what it's all about. It's about having conversations, and we're both very passionate about how much we love the UAE. So, you know, why can't we talk about that occasionally? I mean, it is an amazing place. We were talking about the business setup and the corporate setup. It's so easy. You know, the licenses we've got in place, the supplements that are coming in that we're going to try and, you know, offer to, you know, people worldwide through 100x focus, 100x mindset, whatever it may be. And another thing, what we were talking about yesterday, why not touch on it? The most disciplined people, one of them, are fighters. Yeah. Now, you love Muay Thai, you love MMA, like me, and boxing. And we were actually having a conversation yesterday about why don't we sponsor young up and coming fighters?
Yeah.
I think that's a great thing.
It is, isn't it?
I think it really is. And essentially we could become, we've got so many different avenues we can go down with 100x.
Yeah.
We started this, and obviously we're ploughing money in left, right and centre. And we've got no idea of the ROI, and we don't really give a crap about the ROI initially because we're doing it for the right reasons. But as it's all sort of flowing, and it's moving along every day.
So many avenues, isn't there? And
There is.
It's all
Sponsorships,
related.
partnerships, and the boxing side as well.
Yeah, that'll be amazing.
How do you see that working?
I think, especially after the Hard Knocks event, and we've spoke to Matt since then. He's going to come and jump on the show as well.
Yeah, he's in a few days, yeah.
and talk about how he started and everything else. It's so relatable, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it is. We touched on it before. It's mindset and discipline,
Yeah.
and consistency. That is, it's the mindset of any, martial arts fighter. That those disciplines are installed in people. So yeah, I just think it's relatable. It works.
Imagine having a branch of 100X, and we actually focused on bringing fighters from grassroots, all different countries, and sponsoring them financially in order to help them through their journey. Imagine having one that came from nothing with our help, and it came out to be, it's a world class champion.
I think in most sports, isn't it? It's difficult to break a barrier because of the financial aspect of it.
Yeah.
And to be able to support someone and help someone get through it and watch them grow and obviously, hopefully become, a leader in the.
Listen, let's throw it out there. If you're into a certain sport and you need sponsorship, you need financial sponsorship, you need help with travel, branding, whatever it may be, then reach out through the email, reach out through the WhatsApp. If you go to www.100x-mindset.com, they've got at the top, you've got all the socials, you've got the WhatsApp, which goes directly through to the team, and you've got the Telegram as well, you've got the email. Contact us.
Yeah.
Would be open to, looking at helping people out financially. We're not going to be throwing money at every Tom, Dick and Harry. Probably opens up the floodgates to people asking for money, but we want to help the right people. If you're really good in your sport, it doesn't have to be just fighters, does it?
No.
It can be, obviously, I wouldn't be too keen on sponsoring, people into chess and stuff like that, even though I don't mind it. But
I love chess.
I don't mind chess, but I don't want to be funding someone into chess tournaments.
I was invited to a chess tournament last week. It's at the Louvre.
Yeah.
I'll give you the details. So go down.
Yeah, we'll go down, yeah. I'm actually the only person in this house, apart from my son now, that I've taught chess, who actually knows where the chess pieces go on the board, because the maids haven't got a clue. So every day I wake up and on the chess pieces downstairs, they're just everywhere.
There's a chess set there.
There's a chess set there, and obviously that's laid out perfectly because I understand chess. I'm playing 4D chess on a daily basis, sometimes 9D.
What you go on, chess.com?
No, I don't mean actually the saying 4D chess in life.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. But look, should we cover a little bit of the book, because it's very important. Now, I hate reading, guys. I hate looking down and reading, but I'm going to dig out the iPad and I'm going to read a little bit of the introduction, because I think it's very powerful. Now, me and Brian also, we want you to understand that we're not giving you all this book, in regards to, in the shows. We're highlighting certain key things. It's going to be very beneficial. And also, we were speaking to the publishers. It'll be ready in about 5-6 weeks. This isn't a money grab by any means. In fact, what we've actually told them is, it's going to be free for the first 5 days in downloads, I think Amazon allows you to download for free over 5 days. Now, we've just done it for the first 5, the whole thing. Even after the 5 days, with the publishers, we can't do it free permanently. It's because there's a lot of marketing that goes into
costs
it.
Involved.
There's costs involved in the whole process, but we're going to keep it down really low, the price, so it's accessible to everyone. We've also spoke about getting there.
It's basically just going to cover its own cost.
It's going to cover its own cost.
It's not for any finance.
No, it's not at all. Yeah, it's to get out there as much as we can. Spoke to the publishing team. I don't think I've even mentioned to you about getting it also translated into Hindi.
Okay.
Yeah,
no.
I mean, I spoke to them yesterday, and he said, even that itself is costing a couple of $1,000 just to get done the thing. But I think it's very important. There's a huge amount of especially followers I've got on my other socials in India. It's it's a huge country, and even Pakistanis will speak Hindi, to speak Hindi as well. Yeah. Okay. So I knew that. So Hindi is a really good, I think, translation into the book.
Is the written text the same in? Oh, is it?
Do the audio.
Yeah, the audio. Yeah.
Yeah, the audio book.
Yeah, because it's. I think it's people will think, oh, just throw it into Google Translate, but interpretation's totally different.
Of course it is, yeah. So we've got, so that's in discussion at the moment. We could even do it in Cantonese, Mandarin. We do it in Spanish and French. But I think just off, where my understanding, especially with the region and whatever, I think in Hindi with the Indians and Pakistanis would be a really good one. So I'm going to cover the introduction to the book, a part of it, maybe a couple of paragraphs. That's it. Yeah. So, you are far more powerful than you've been told. At some point in your life, you were conditioned to settle. You were told, sometimes subtly, sometimes directly, that life is supposed to be hard, that success is reserved for the lucky, that ambition is risky, and that you should be grateful for what you have, even if it leaves you unfulfilled. You were encouraged to follow the rules, do your best, stay safe, avoid failure, and never expect too much. Now, the reason I put that in the part of the introduction, very basic part of the introduction, is because I do believe, and going back to what was said previously, everyone is conditioned from an early age to stay in their box and to conform, yeah? And I don't want to use the term matrix or whatever, breaking out the matrix. It's used too many times by other people. I won't mention the names, and I don't want to go down that route. But essentially, I do, hand on heart, believe that because, entrepreneurial skills aren't taught within schools, and because there's a certain expectation of people and kids to learn the basics, how to get into their particular job. I believe that everyone's sort of conditioned just to settle, because we can't have a whole world full of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
We can't, because what would happen to the infrastructure of society? There has to be a road sweeper, there has to be a bricklayer, there has to be a factory worker, there has to be a restaurant worker. There has to be these people, otherwise what would happen? I think a lot of people have the desire to break the mould, but a few people dare to.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I think a lot of people are conditioned from an early age, and from even it starts at school. It starts when you're born, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And the perception or what your parents think, whether they want you to get an apprenticeship, become a doctor, become a lawyer, what were perceived as great career roles back then. Times have changed, things are different, aren't they?
Yeah.
And even from school, we're all conditioned right the way through school, what we're believed to think, we're put inside the box, or there's certain sets of categories or rules, which is the norm.
Yeah.
And I think you've just got to step outside the norm and, as you say, dare to believe.
I think if you look at different class systems, which everywhere has, it was a lot more prominent years ago for me growing up, because obviously I was working class, and you've got to watch what you say to a certain degree. And I'm proud of where it came from. I am proud. I'm proud of my uncles. I'm proud of my grandparents. I'm proud of my grandfather being a window fitter and having pubs. I'm proud of my other grandfather working in a steel factory 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
It was a lot different then. I mean, growing up, my father especially growing up, so my father's from Scotland Road, yeah. So where they lived, there was all the families sort of together, and it was 2 up, 2 down terraced house. And obviously in the 50s and 60s, things were a lot different. Now, my grandmother, my father's mum, she was, from when my father was born, she had multiple sclerosis, so she couldn't move from the neck down. Now, if you can only, I could only imagine I've spoken to my dad so many times about this, but you imagine how horrific it must have been to actually have kids. And my grandfather, my father's dad, he was working in a sheet metal factory in Bootle, 12 hours a day. So my auntie, my dad's auntie, had to look after my grandmother and look after the kids, my dad and his sister Phyllis, and he had to look after them. So when my granddad come back, he'd actually have to carry up a little flight of stairs. They had no like standard stair lifts. They had no care to come to the house, nurses or whatever. So like, without going to graphic detail, to change, whatever you want to call it, adult, nappies or whatever like that, because you can't, she was disabled. Yeah. That had to be done. And, he never drank. Now, back then, everyone drank, and they still do to a degree now. Yeah. And he said to my father, my dad said, well, why don't you ever have a drink, Dad? And he said, how can I? When can I have the luxury of drinking? I've got a wife that I have to look after. I've got kids to look after. I've got to work 12 hours a day. I mean, it must have been tough. I always think my childhood was amazing. Yeah. It wasn't, that's all I knew. But can you imagine what it was like in the 50s, 60s?
But again, it's people, you don't know any different, do you? And no. I'm not saying it made it any easier, but I could imagine that in another 50 years' time, our grandkids and their kids are going to look at us and go, how did you live like that?
Yeah.
It's just because times change, don't they? I think it's not about, and you see it definitely today, I think the whole industry, everything's commercialised towards making people's lives easier, which is making people's lives lazier. Yeah. What sells the most things? You look at everything now. Especially living in UAE, you don't have to leave your house to get anything. No, everything is delivered to your door. Yeah. If you can, it's about convenience. If you can make someone's life easier, and that's just going back to what you're saying about like home help or carers and everything else. There's an industry for it. There's a market for it. People, and I'm not necessarily saying it's a good thing, but the hardships before are not comparable to now. People face different challenges now, and they will in 50 years' time, as I say, kids will look back on us and go, "How did you live like that?" Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because
you're right. I mean, but even if you look back at our childhood, because both of us the same age, we're from the same city and similar backgrounds. I remember before, obviously, mobile phones. I remember before that very clearly. The mobile phones, I had a pager when I was 16.
I had one.
I had this. The initial pages that came out were the ones that the number just popped up.
No one ever paged me.
Like, yeah, I had a couple now and again, but I was made up. You know what I mean?
Self messages.
Yeah, I was made up. But you had the initial one, which was like a black one, which just had the yellow screen with the number popping up. So that number, someone was trying to get hold of you. But I had it on my belt. I thought I was the dog Suzer. Yeah. And then the other ones came out, which were like the blue and the white ones, which had the screen message. So you call a woman and you say,
you tell her the message.
Yeah, you tell her. So then I'd have some of the lads winding me up with some like crazy messages. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But I was made up, but you had to get a landline, or you had to have 10p to put into the phone box. Would always smell to urine, no matter whatever it was. Yeah. Remember the phone boxes? Yeah. I don't know why they changed it from the brilliant ones, the British telephone box, to them BT ones that used to get scratched to death, and they always stunk of wee.
I think it's cost, isn't it? You look at them also, I think they were like cast iron or something.
They probably threw it in and weighed it in, didn't they, and got money for it.
They did make things better, didn't they, in the old days?
They made things better, mate, but I always remember it was completely normal growing up to make my teens to have change in my pocket. I have to call someone, and the telephone box to stink of wee. It was always completely normal to go, and it stunk of urine. You know what I mean? But think about it now. I mean, I wouldn't even go near something like that now. It's not like I think I'm better. I just think it's disgusting. But back then, you just normally go in one to ring your mate, and as you're talking, the smell of ammonia, wee, would be going up your nose. Yeah. Nostalgic.
It's weird, isn't it? I can always remember, like, just even saying to my mum, like, what was it like in the olden days?
Yeah.
And even
Was it black and white?
was it black and white? Yeah, because that's it. The only reference we had was black and white pictures or an RTV, which I can still remember in my nan and granddad's house. Their TV was black and white for years.
Yeah. I remember in my nan's, because I spent a lot of time. My nan lived in Anfield on Townsend Lane, and growing up there, it was amazing. And you know, she had nothing, and you know, the house was, everything was like the carpet, the curtains, not unmatched, the couch. It was all like passed down from one of the kids or whatever like that. 'Cause no one had anything. But honestly, if someone said to me, you could give £1,000,000 to spend a week in your nan's with your nan, right? No central heating, bathroom in the yard, right? And, you know, I would give probably everything within reason, so we didn't put ourselves in a situation financially, to spend that time in my nan's, because, you know, some of the happiest memories are in my nan's house. There was pictures of Jesus everywhere and holy water everywhere.
Same as me.
You know, it was just, I remember there was
the Last Supper. And
the Last Supper everywhere, and St. Jude on the TV and stuff like that. You couldn't go anywhere without, obviously, these Catholic shrines everywhere.
I used to go to Lourdes to get healed.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, my dad tells us, obviously, you try and, especially in Liverpool, Lewis, there is, yeah. So you try and make light of certain things, especially Scousers, yeah. You know, it comes from hard times. We try and make jokes about it. I remember my dad sitting there, and my dad was talking about his mum. And obviously he's conditioned himself to have certain like protective things there to try, because obviously it's upsetting growing up. Obviously your mum's disabled, but I remember years ago, everyone was talking, everyone was having a few drinks, and we were talking about Lourdes in France, which is the holy place where people used to go to get the water and to become healed, and miracles happen. So my dad's telling this story, and everyone's like, you know, in depth, because this is about his mum, right? So everyone's like, okay, very serious, you know, my dad's saying. So years ago, my mum, she had multiple sclerosis. They took her in a wheelchair. Her sisters, my aunties, took her to Lourdes in a wheelchair. And they got to the side of the water, you know, the priests are there, and everyone was like, okay. And he said, and then they pushed her into the water in a wheelchair, and then they pushed her back out, and everyone was like, oh, what happened next? And he said, it was amazing. It was a miracle. And everyone said, what happened? He said, she come out with new tyres on a wheelchair. But it's just, but you know what the thing is, mate? It's Liverpool sense of humour, isn't it? That's his mum, that's my grandmother. But instead of being, you know, we've been brought up with hardships. So, you know, there's always a joke in there, isn't it? And I think that's the way that we've survived, Scousers, by making light of some pretty dark times.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't know if I'm 100% right, but I'm sure my nan went in a wheelchair and come back walking.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
But that's the story, though.
No, and legit.
Really?
Yeah, I can remember being in a wheelchair, and then later on she was walking.
Well, my nan come back with new tyres, gold-plated tyres. But yeah, so look, Liverpool is, we're Irish immigrants, most of us. You know, it might go back 150 years, but it was funny with the wife when she was pregnant with my 8-year-old. I said to her, look, you know, our family's in Liverpool, we're all Irish, aren't we? She goes, I'm not. She said, I'm English. You know, my name's, his surname was the same as yours, her name at the time, but she's a pretty British name. And I said, you must be somewhere. You're a Scouser. You know, we're all, because obviously Liverpool never sounded like that 100, 200 years ago. It was because of the influx of the Irish that came in.
Yeah.
The same as they went to Boston, New York, and they went to Liverpool. So she's done the ancestry.com, and it all come up, this and that. We're actually from the same town in Cork, both together, and we look similar to each other, which is a little bit worrying. Do you know what I mean? A little bit scary. Obviously, it's somewhere through the generations we've got the same bump on our nose. But anyway, yeah, the kids are fine, so it's okay. They've come out okay. But yeah, so, you know, Liverpool's got a great history. And if you understand the history with the potato famine and the coming over and the poverty and whatever. But it's a great city. You know, it got a lot of backlash from different parts of the UK, and so did Ireland. I mean, Ireland, without going into the politics side, the English basically raped and pillaged Ireland for 1,000 years. You know, there's a bad history there, but you know, and I think we got the backlash of it. The Scousers, the English, give us a bit of a backlash. We were the butt of quite a lot of jokes, especially in the 70s and 80s.
Even till now, I think it doesn't go away. There's still a stigma.
But that's why I think we've stuck together as our own country.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not English, we're Scouse,
Exactly.
as they say.
Yeah. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of
I'm
that.
very proud of it, mate.
We are a proud city. We're proud of our heritage.
Of course,
We're proud
yeah.
of where we're from, and
We're loyal to each other. You know, we might not sometimes get on with each other, but then I guarantee you, if you're anywhere in the world and you've got an issue with someone and there's another Scouser there, I guarantee you that person, and vice versa, you're with them. Exactly. You're with them, and even if, you know, even if something bad happened, you're with them. Yeah. Because you're both Scouts. Someone's got your back all the time. You might not get on together in your own city.
Yeah, you'll never walk alone.
You'll never walk alone. Like I was singing after me surgery.
Yeah. So yeah, I think everything we've spoke about, it's very fitting with that first that introduction of the book, because it's all about breaking the mold, isn't it? And it's all about how the perception, how we grew up, and how we're led to believe this is the way it should be. This is the norm, when it's actually not.
But also, Brian, one thing we're feel very strong about, both of us, is we're not telling people that because we broke the mold, or other people want to break the mold, that there was anything wrong with, you know, where we came from, because we love where we came from. Yeah. It's just that for us, you know, anyone, look, I don't care who you are. You know, if you're stuck in a position where you're not happy, and it's not just about money, it's about being fulfilled in life. Yeah. You know, it's very hard. You know, we're not saying, you know, that was shit, that was terrible. I'm saying that some of the best memories of my life were spent there. Yeah. But in my life, I lived once, and I wanted something to be more interesting. I wanted to see the world, and I wanted to have opportunities. Yeah. And I think everyone, if they're honest with themselves, feels the same. Whether the action on that or not is completely different.
I think that's it. I never want to look back with regrets of not achieving what I set out to do, or not. Even if it didn't work out, or even if I didn't enjoy it and found out later, at least I tried it. Yeah. You know.
I mean, look, the thing for me, you know, people, especially with my other brand, you know, well, you know, you've got money, it's different for you. People haven't got a fucking clue about what I've been through, what you've been through over the years. You know, I worked in one of them slaughterhouses in Liverpool when I was younger, on like £1.20 an hour. Yeah. You know, I used to work in a chicken factory for a bit. I'm talking in my teenage years. Yeah. You know, I remember at 16 working in a car wash. Yeah. You know, I mean, it's, people don't understand. Yeah, I was working in a bar for a while as well. Yeah. I was working in a bar on Matthew Street for a bit. Yeah. Working in Batey's, it was called Batey's on the corner.
I remember.
I was working in as a barman, and I was supposed to be 18, but I was only 16. But I was working as a barman. Yeah. And then I ended up, you know, but you know, for me, you know, I've lived in bedsits I was in a bedsit in the Kremlin Drive, you know, and by Green Lane.
Yeah.
I was there in Kremlin Drive in a small bedsit when I was 16 years of age, and I was going to work as a barman, lying that I was 18, but I was only 16, to try and make money. You know, people do not see all that crap. Yeah. You know, people see the success, they don't see the journey to get there.
No, exactly. And that's it. It goes back to what you've just said. It's not about making people feel bad for the position they're in or where they are in life, and people are happy with that as well. But this is to reach the people that do have dreams, do have ambition, and do have goals. It's to incentivize them, say, you can do it. Yeah. Go out and do it. don't settle for second best. If you believe that's what you're settling for, you don't have to settle.
Do you know, I'll tell you something funny as well. It's just sprung into my mind. I was about 14. I ran away from home, and I don't know how I managed to get to the Isle of Man, right? But I got to the Isle of Man. I remember seeing in the Liverpool Echo, there was jobs in, I think it was the Station Hotel or something like that, in Port Mary or whatever like that. Yeah, I forget. I mean, it's vague. It's a lot of years, yeah. It's like the early 90s or whatever. And I went over and he said, we're after a barmaid. And I said, well, you didn't put that in the Echo. This before phones, you picking up the phone. I said, yeah. I said, we can't believe you come over. And I was telling him I was 18. Do you know what I mean? Back then, the checks were like hip dip dog shit. Do you know what I mean? It was like, so they said, look, we'll find you somewhere. So they give me a room in the room with their son, who was about 15. So they thought I was older. He was older than me. Do you know what I mean? And I remember going down overnight to the kitchens because I was starving, having a sandwich and stuff like that. I was staying in the pub.
Yeah.
And then he said, this fella wants to meet you. So there was a town called Port Erin. Yeah. I don't know if you know the Isle of Man at all. No. Okay, but I've only ever been this one time. Yeah. And I'm 14, running away. And there's a fella called Brian from Kirby, yeah, Liverpool. And he had the pub there. So he said, have you ever worked behind a bar? I said, yeah, I've worked behind a bar. I hadn't had a clue. I mean, I was drinking at 14, but I didn't have a clue to pour a pint. So when he had me working there from that night, and I was on £10 a night or whatever like that, not an hour a night. Yeah. And I remember at the end, I'd been there for a few weeks, and I remember at the end there was a darts team came in, the girls' darts team, and I'm 14 years of age, and there was this girl came in. I remember being a pretty girl. I was only 14. She must have been about 18. She thought I was 18.
Yeah.
And she was like, look, I know you're looking for somewhere to stay. Come and stay at mine. So I was like, okay. So I actually stayed in hers.
No one's gone to jail after this episode, are they?
No, it was years ago. I don't know who it was. So anyway, I remember staying in hers, and we had... Anyway, the next day I woke up, all my clothes, I didn't have a lot back then, do you know what I mean? Probably three t-shirts, a jumper, a jacket, one pair of jeans and a pair of Reebok Classics, that's it. But it was all hung up. She took me identification and everything, hidden it, and she said, I'm going to tell my parents we're going to get engaged. I'm like, what the fuck? Grabbed me stuff, legged it, got a boat back to Liverpool. But anyway, that was off topic, but there you go.
Even I can remember my first job was a waiter in Nosey Village in a restaurant.
The Chinese, is it now?
Called the Millbrook Manor.
Yeah, so it's the Chinese now, isn't it?
I don't know if it's still there now.
So
I
it's
think
by
it's
the
housing.
roundabout,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's next to the Triangle.
I used to have an apartment there. It's,
Thai barn.
No, on the left-hand side, it used to be a gym.
Yeah.
Opposite the Derby.
Terry Phillips. Well, I used to work there as well.
Yeah, so I used to have a few apartments there.
So I can remember I was clearing a table. They'd finished eating. I think it was like I'd been there about 2 weeks. So anyway, they said, go and clear that table. You just take the plates. And some of them hadn't finished. And they said, can I have a doggy bag? I was like, yeah, no worries. So, I know what it means now. So I just went into the back, got a plastic bag and just started emptying everyone's plate into the one bag, thinking it was for the dog.
Yeah.
When it means like a takeaway. They were all looking at me horrified, thinking,
what are you doing?
And I was just like, why are they all looking at me like this as I'm emptying the plates into one bag?
Mate, I worked at the Chinese as, I wouldn't call myself a sous chef. It was just basically rolling the spring rolls. So my job was just to roll spring rolls all night. Yeah. That's all I did. I mean, you look back, mate, and it was, you were just getting through, weren't you? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But going back to what I said previously, when I actually took further education in my 20s, and then when I got into traditional finance, and I was smashing it, I was doing amazing, right? I was flying all over the world, seeing ultra high nets. I was piggybacking, Deutsche Bank at the time and whatever, and other different financial institutions. And I remember sitting there with tailor-made suit on. This lad who worked at a Chinese in a chicken factory as a car wash and all that. And the imposter syndrome came in. Yeah. And I was thinking, I'm sitting there with my Mont Blanc suitcase and my pen, You know, like you blah, 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 like this. And I was thinking, hell, when are they going to find out I used to work in a Chinese restaurant? But I earned it. I done further education. I earned to be there. But it was always that in your mind.
Yeah, there's a couple of things.
Are you worthy enough to be in this situation?
Yeah, and then you hear people say things like "fake it till you make it," and in reality, you're not faking it because
you've got the right credentials.
You deserve to be there.
But you feel like you are sometimes.
It's that self-belief, isn't it? You have that self-doubt, and you're always doubting yourself. And I think it's hard to overcome. It is very hard to overcome.
It is.
Even now, I'd say nowadays I don't feel as much. I'm very comfortable within myself.
I'm comfortable.
What I believe. But there's certain scenarios that you can put yourself in, and you can have it comes up, doesn't it? Like that self-doubt.
Well, I think in all honesty, at this point now, it doesn't so much. But when my big crypto brand started going really like viral, and I started becoming, let's say, very well known in crypto, I was getting it then. And this was like a few years ago. It was like a bit overwhelming. Yeah. And then when I started to show my face on the YouTube channels and stuff, that was a little bit overwhelming. And I'll be honest with you, at this point, probably only the last couple of years, I'm like, okay, I've done this myself. You know, at 47 years of age, I've done this, I've created this. And it wasn't, some people think I just made money in crypto. But I was making like money, like, you know, I was making a few $100,000 per year before that crypto. So I was still earning a good living before crypto. It's just that crypto sent me into the stratosphere.
Exactly. I know a lot of people recognise me from the bars, the restaurants.
You know everyone in the UAE, mate.
They think that's how it started, or that's what we do.
Yeah.
But there's a bigger picture behind that. We didn't start like that, and we still maintain the other sides of the companies which got us started, which is the AV rental, the entertainment side of things, the agency, the artists, the bands, you know, production. So there's a lot more behind the scenes that, you know, blood, sweat and tears. It started out just me and my brother carrying speakers. We started out with 2 speakers.
Unbelievable, mate.
And it got to a point, and I think we discussed it about, say, like I mentioned in the last episode about being a yes man. There was a point in our lives when it was like we didn't say no to anyone. Hotel would say, have you got we'd only had 2 speakers, set of decks and a laser light and things like that. People say, have you got this? And we'd say, yeah. We go out and buy it. But at that time, it was necessary.
Yeah.
And it's nowadays we're in a position where we pull back. Some people ask us things, and it's not about there's no value in it. Do we need to be putting ourselves in, stressing ourselves out? And it's a good position to be in, to be able to say no nowadays.
Well, look, for yourself, your company did the Louvre, whatever. The replica are obviously the one in Paris, the one in Abu Dhabi. All the big events in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, you're behind a lot of them.
I'd say a lot of things, even down to the Formula One.
Yeah.
We've always been a part of it to some degree, whether it's supplying furniture, AV. We started out as a supplier before we got our first venue there, which has been running for the last couple of years as a pop-up every single year. But
you've done pop-ups with the golf tournaments.
Yeah, we do a lot. Even if it's behind the scenes and presence might be minimal. We do a lot of fashion shows. We work with a lot of the major luxury fashion brands and high street brands as well on a day-to-day basis, whether it be product launches or just supplying microphones. There's a lot of various aspects that people don't see behind the scenes, you know, and it started somewhere, and it started with just me and my brother, literally just hauling a couple of speakers about and lights. But yeah, people just think, oh, you got to buy, you must, you know, it just fell onto your lap.
Oh, you're lucky.
Yeah.
Or you were given it, and no one's given us nothing.
You work for it.
So look, anything more today you'd like to cover? For me, I think we've got some great content today. Yeah, we've opened up, we've been raw, haven't we?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think based on the introduction of the book, it's very fitting, isn't it, to establish who we are and where we've come from and our background, and being proud of that.
Proud of every step of the way.
Yeah.
I think without all that or what we've been through, I think the strength that we've gained from that as men,
Yeah.
you know, that wouldn't be the case. We've got a lot of resilience.
Yeah.
You know, I think Scousers in general have got a lot of resilience.
Yeah.
You know, our backs being up against the wall from day one, every Scouser.
Yeah.
And I always, hand on heart, every time I see someone doing well from our city,
Yeah.
I don't care if it's a football player, a boxer. Honestly, genuine
It's a
hand,
great
I
feeling,
love it,
isn't
mate.
it?
I love
it's
it.
good. It's great
You know,
to
seeing
see.
Paddy Pimblett, he's mates with my mate. You
Yeah.
know him through other people. My
Yeah.
good mate is close mates with him. He was in Miami. Every time I see him, I get a warmth in my heart.
Yeah.
You know, any of the boxers, anyone that breaks. I don't like to use the saying break out the city, like, you know, it's not great because it's a great city, but actually, you know, better the lives from our city.
Yeah.
I genuinely feel amazing seeing that person
Yeah.
do well, and that sets these people that sit there and they hate on people for doing well.
Yeah.
Like I said to you, to be people, you know, watching our podcast and, oh, who do they think they are? You know, talking this, you know, talking shit or whatever it may
Yeah.
be. These are the people who are never ever going to become successful,
Yeah.
and they're living with this jealousy and the green eye and whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But genuinely, for me, even when I was skint and I had never had no money, seeing someone, especially from our city, doing well,
Yeah.
warms me heart, mate.
It does. It's an amazing feeling, isn't it? It's just a proudness, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's a great feeling to see people, even the Liverpool, the football club.
yeah,
You know, it's just amazing to see
amazing.
those people come together, and the
Yeah.
crowds at the parade and everything else, and the following they get all around the world. We've just took so we were part of the Abu Dhabi Reds football club in my other bar, which was called the Goat, and in now Easy Tiger we've just took them back on.
Nice.
They've come back to us, so yeah, so next season's going to be big as well, so yeah, it's
Brilliant,
great.
mate. Excellent. So, thank you very much for tuning in today. Please, guys, give us the motivation to carry on. Maybe put comments in there from future podcasts that you want to see, topics. Also, make sure you smash up the likes. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure you put your notifications on.
Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.